The risk of a dangerous fall is rising for Americans over 65. Is it distraction, lack of physical activity, wearing the wrong shoes? Maybe all of those things. Joining us this morning, Dr. Goutham Gosu, a local audiologist, to break this down for us this morning, and also with Hearing and Balance Solutions here in Charlotte. Dr. Gosu, always a pleasure to have you on.
Absolutely, thank you.
Last time you were here, we were talking about hearing loss, and I don't think a lot of people realize the connection of hearing overall health with the balance of our body, which could lead to falls.
Yep. Your inner ear, which is actually, there are two parts to your inner ear, the cochlea and the vestibular system. The cochlea is the hearing system, the vestibular system is the balance system. They're both enclosed in one shell. So one part of it affects the other part of it.
That's fascinating. Okay.
Hearing affects the balance affects the hearing. Of course, there are other medical conditions that would affect the balance too, diabetes, your opioids, surface level issues like the kind of footwear you use, the proper lighting, everything.
Wow, that is a lot that goes into your balance and your safety. And before we came on, you were saying that this is the amount of falls, especially for those over the age of 65. Why is that category more prone to falls? And you're even calling it's so bad it could be an epidemic.
Yep. 1 in 4 people over the age of 65 has a fall. 3 million ER visits and about $50 billion in medical bills to the Medicare. Okay, so yes, you can call it an epidemic for sure. There are multiple things with the age, over the age of 65. For example, diabetes, okay, which is an issue by itself. It can cause to some peripheral neuropathy. They will not be able to perceive their step and stuff like that. There are issues with their vision changes that can cause to balance issues. Opioids that reduces their reflexes, that can do that.
I didn't think about it. Slows like reaction time. You even mentioned ill-fitting shoes.
Absolutely.
How that, you think about, if you were to stumble, if you don't have a shoe that's too small, a clunky heel, whatever it could be. And a lot of these falls, when you and I fall, for the most part, maybe it's a minor injury, a scrape, a bruise, or something like that. But if you're overage, overweight, if you hit, some of you're breaking hips, you're having serious injuries.
Yeah, hip replacements, some of the injuries for the hip from a fall, they can practically, they'll be bedridden. It can change their life trajectory completely. So, at that age, the healing capacity is not the same as when you're younger. So it takes a lot longer. And sometimes there are other medical issues going on, so the surgeon cannot go in and do the surgery right away. You got to get your blood pressure under control or diabetes under control or something before they can do the surgery. So everything adds up.
It does. And like you mentioned, there are these surface level issues, distractions, and some of these other things we were talking about, lack of physical activity, and then it's the deeper level health issues as well. So we'll get to the caretakers in a second, but let's start with the patient, the person who is at risk of falling. What can the person do now to try to lessen the amount of potential falls?
Again, we'll categorize that into surface and deep level issues. Surface issues, get proper fitting shoes, proper lighting in the house, get the cables out of the way, walking path or anything like that. Change of, you're walking from a hardwood floor to a carpet or something like that. You've got to be alert, because there's a change in the floor.
Right.
Okay? Those are some of the surface issues. On the deeper level, you need to get your hearing tested, the balance tested, keep the diabetes under control, especially low blood sugar or something like that. The people can lose conscious out of the blue. Okay.
How important would someone's core strength, upper body strength? Think about when you fall, most of us can pull ourselves up, whether it's on a handrail or a chair or a desk, but if you don't have any of that strength, that's an issue.
Core strength is extremely important for your balance itself. Okay. So pulling yourself up is another thing. Keeping the balance itself is important. So any kind of exercises, walks, anything like that would help. Okay. There are some balance classes that you can take. Just simple exercises like standing on one feet and trying to focus on different things, trying to maintain your balance. Simple exercises will go a long way.
Now, you don't have to be a flamingo where you stand on one leg for 30 minutes, but what would be right now, if we were to do a test on balance, what is a good amount of time you should be able to be on
5 seconds.
Okay, so maybe do each leg at a time to see if you can do it?
Yeah. If you are less than 5 seconds, that means you are at a higher risk for a fall. If you are more than 5 seconds, you're doing pretty good.
That's interesting. You know, I remember as a kid, right before we had kids, right before they get to the crawling stage, a lot of pediatricians recommend as a parent, go through the house, crawl around, find those things that could be dangerous to a kid at that level.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this not to be degrading to anyone that's over 65, but maybe if you're a family member, caretaker, go through your house like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
And think about if you were them, what could be treacherous that could lead to a fall. And like you said, maybe fix those things, adjust those things. Quickly before we run out of time, what are some good alert systems, okay, for people to have or wear in their homes?
Apple Watch is a great alert system.
Okay.
You know, like it has, I mean, there are so many alert systems out there.
Yeah.
Apple seems to be the most common one. Okay?
Sure.
You can put an alert in so that another family member can get the alert right away.
Wow.
They can attend to it. That's probably one of the things that I come across more often.
Okay, I know there's other smart devices out there, whether it's an Alexa, a Google Home, some of these others where it can almost recognize a fall. There might be a phrase that you can cry out that alerts 911.
There are actually alert systems which actually connects you to a call center, and somebody will just immediately call you by name and say, hey, are you okay, kind of a thing.
Right.
I can't think of any names right now, but there are quite a few of those. With like you kind of get a monthly subscription or something like that, and around their neck or wrist or something like that, and there's a little button you can push if need be. You know, there are different ways.
I still remember as a kid the commercial that had an older lady who had fallen. I've fallen and I can't get up. These commercials that have been around for 30 years or more, you know. And so, listen, if you can't do the 5-second test, which is what Dr. Gosu recommended a while ago, see if you can stand on one leg at a time, 5 seconds each. If you can't, maybe it's time to see a specialist who not only deals with the inner hearing part of your body, but hearing and balance solutions in Charlotte to get you on the path, at least lower the risk. Let's not make this an epidemic. Dr. Gosu, thank you. Fascinating information.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.